Well, we've been having a good time. Thank you. We're going to win very, very big in November, that I can tell you. We're going to win. Whoa, look at that. Wow. Thank you. We're having a time. We just got back. I was in Dallas. I was in Houston. I just left Nevada. And here I am. I tell you what. And you know, Arizona was really my first big speech. We had a tremendous crowd, and I won't forget it. But we had a crowd that was great, like this is great, and we don't forget. We don't forget. It was a very important day because I went there, I said, who's going to show up? And the place was packed, okay? And it was packed. Thank you, darling. She was there. She was there. You know, it was actually 1 year ago plus 2 days, right? We came down the escalator, and it was, who knew that this was going to happen? Who knew? I did. And we're doing a job. And, I tell you, we're having tremendous difficulties in our country. Radical Islamic terrorism is out of control. We have problems. And we're going to solve our problems. We're going to be very, very smart. We're going to be very strong and tough. And we're going to be very vigilant. And we're going to solve our problems, okay? We're going to solve our problems. But what happened to the LGBT... Look, you understand, right? You know what happened. LGBT, the gay community. What happened was an assault on our country. It was an assault on the gay community. It was assault on everything that we all stand for. And we cannot let this happen again. And remember this. Remember this. Remember this. This was not about guns. This was about terrorism. Pure and simple. This was about terrorism. And we are going to protect, 100% protect our Second Amendment. 100%. And if in that club, where so many died and so many are so badly wounded and injured, if in that club you had some people, not a lot of people, because you don't need a lot of people, but if you had somebody with a gun strapped onto their hip, somebody with a gun strapped onto their ankle, and you had bullets going in the opposite direction, right at this animal who did this, you would have had a very, very different result. Believe me, folks. Very different result. But the people in there were totally defenseless. There was nothing they could do. And we want to stop it. We want to be smart. We want to stop it. Now, the National Rifle Association, they are great people. The NRA endorsement was one of the earliest endorsements. I think it was the earliest endorsement they've ever given. And we have to stick. Look, Wayne and Chris and all of the people, we know so many of them. I'm a member. My sons are members, longtime members. They're great hunters. My sons they love hunting. And they love and I'll tell you what, they represent so many of the people in this room. They represent the people in this room. But the National Rifle Association, and they don't get credit for what they do and what they stand for. These are great Americans. These are people that love our country, folks. These are people, it's a little bit like, you know, it's a little bit like our police. We have unbelievable people that protect us, all of us, and they don't get the recognition they should get, okay? They don't get it. So, a lot of things are going to change. They all say when, don't say if, but look, when, if, we're doing well. We had a poll just came out yesterday. We're essentially even. We haven't really started. This is just the very beginning, but we haven't really started. But we have crooked Hillary. She is so bad in so many ways. You know, Crazy Bernie said that about Hillary. No, we love Bernie. Look, is Bernie unbelievable? He doesn't quit. He doesn't quit. Young Democrats for Trump. I like that. That's going to happen. I like that. Put that up. Thank you, man. Now, say what you want about Bernie. He doesn't quit. He's in there pitching. And, you know, I agree with Bernie on certain things. And I'll tell you where we really agree with Bernie is trade. Because he knows our country is being ripped off on trade like no country has ever been ripped off. We're losing our jobs. We're losing our manufacturing all over this country, all over the United States. And you know when it really started? With NAFTA. And NAFTA was signed by who? Bill Clinton. It's probably the most destructive economic act ever signed by our country. There's never been anything like this. When I won primaries, I'd go to New York and Pennsylvania and Connecticut and all these different states, New England. I mean, all over New England, you have to see it. But no matter where, all over the country I'd go, and you would see, it was so horrible. You would see factories that were vibrant 20, 25 years ago, and now they're worthless. They're sitting there rusting, rotting, and falling down. And all taken out of our country. And these are jobs that were moved to other places. And folks, that's not going to happen anymore. We're bringing our jobs back. We're bringing our jobs back. We're bringing our jobs back, folks. And they're coming back big league. And we're not letting our companies leave so easily anymore. You know, I won Indiana, the state of Indiana. One of the reasons was Bobby Knight. That was one of the reasons, right? 900 games he won. Bobby Knight was great, and we had great support in Indiana. We had great support everywhere. But I will say this, in winning Indiana, as you know, Carrier Air Conditioner announced they were leaving Indianapolis, right? And it just worked out that the timing, they let 1,400 people go, and we can't let this kind of stuff go any longer. They're moving to Mexico. And I would say very simply, congratulations, you're moving to Mexico. Every single air conditioning unit that you make in Mexico that comes across what will be a very strong border with a wall, by the way, a very, very strong border. You're going to pay a 35% tax on that unit. And you know what? Number one, they're not leaving. And if they already left, like many other companies, we're going to make a lot of money, folks. We're going to make a lot of money. And you know what? These companies are going to move back because we're the bank that they all steal from. If you look at China, we have rebuilt China by our stupidity, by allowing these massive trade deficits. We have rebuilt China. You look at their trains that go 250 miles an hour, and ours chug, chug, chug. Honestly, we're like a third world country. But if you look at some of these, actually, you go to the Middle East, you look at some of the airports, you look at some of the roadways and the highways, you look at the bridges that they're building in China. All over China, bridges. You don't build bridges here very rarely. Do you see bridges going up here? You have one in San Francisco. It's being built by China. With, by the way, massive cost overruns. You think they're going to make a couple of dollars? I think so. Massive cost overruns. So we're going to change it around, folks. We're going to change it around. And we're going to make this country so strong and so great again. It's going to be a great, great thing. We are going to make it so great again. And by the way, I have to thank some of our folks. We have got such a great delegation of people. They've helped me so much in Arizona. Where's Jeff? Where's Jeff? Jeff? Where is he? Get over here. Look at him. Vote for this man. He's a winner. He's a winner. We love you, Jeff. Thank you. And our chairman and all our representatives, they've been incredible. And they tell me we're doing fantastically. We're doing fantastically in Arizona. And look, there are a number of reasons, and people say we're strong on the border. We're going to be strong on the border. We have to. And if we're not strong on the border, we're going to lose our country. We're not going to have a country anymore. And by the way, we want people to come into our country, but we want people to come into our country legally. Legally. We want them here legally, folks, and it's going to happen. Now, people talk about the wall. Has anyone ever heard about the wall? Some of these politicians during the debates, and I was on center stage on every single debate, and I have to say, by the way, Sheriff Joe, wherever you are, what a great guy. Sheriff Joe, what a great guy. Sheriff Joe, I love you, Sheriff Joe. What a great guy. So, Sheriff Joe endorsed Trump. And I want to tell you, I got the endorsement of 16,500 Border Patrol agents. And I asked them, and nobody knows better than them. And by the way, their job is much easier now. They're told to stand back, let everybody just walk through. They don't want that. They want to see our country be great again. They know what has to be done. But I said, do we need the wall? Tell me, do we need the wall? And they said, Mr. Trump, we need the wall. We need the wall. And then I got the guarantee when I get this. To me, that's called like gold level. But then Sheriff Joe came out. And then a great person, a great, great person who I've respected for so long, who's become a friend of mine, Governor Jan. Where's Governor Jan? Governor Jan. Where is she? Jan, stand up. Hello, Jan. Thank you. No, she is an amazing person. And, you know, it's not nice to say about a woman, but you are tough, aren't you, huh? She is tough. She's smart. And I'll tell you, she's been there, and Joe's been there, and so many others have been there, and I appreciate it, folks. Jan, thank you very much for being here. Thank you. She's a great governor, by the way, and I hope you realize it, but she was a great governor. So I love you too, darling. I love you. Look at her. Look at all these women for Trump, you know. So in the polls, I'm doing unbelievably, like almost record steady with men for Trump. But I want women for Trump. The hell with the men, right? I want women. And I think I'm doing very well with women. I think I'm doing very well with women for Trump. We have so much in Las Vegas, just having left Las Vegas. Thank you very much. Thank you. Just having left Las Vegas, we had so many women with signs up, women for Trump, women for Trump. And I'm trying to figure it out, what's with these polls, but they're getting better. Number one, they want to see a strong military. Number two, they want to see a strong border. Number three, they want to see people that love our country come into our country, not people that hate us, okay? Not people that hate us. And I think that's doing very, very well. I think that's good. And I have to say this. African-American youth, 59% unemployment. We're going to bring jobs back, folks. We're going to bring jobs back. President Obama has done nothing for African-American youth, and everybody knows it. For Hispanics, we're bringing jobs back. And you know, in Nevada, in the exit polls, when people were leaving, I led all of the exit polls, and I won the state in a landslide. And I led all of the exit polls with the Hispanics. We are going to do unbelievably well with Mexicans, with all of the Hispanics, with the Latinos. We are going to do so well because we're going to bring jobs back. We're bringing jobs back to our country. And you know, thank you. And you know, it is about jobs. That's like the great medicine that makes us better. We're losing our jobs. We're losing our base. We're losing our manufacturing. And the numbers are phony numbers, 5% unemployment. When you stop looking for a job, which most people, after a period of time, they give up. Did you give up? Don't give up. Don't give up. She gave up. Don't give up. But they put you down statistically as though you were employed. We probably have a 20% or more unemployment rate, okay? And I read it, and we had some terrible news 2 weeks ago. 38,000 jobs, which was like such a low number. They were thinking 150,000, 200,000, turned out to be 38,000. It was a horrible number, and unemployment went down by a little bit. And everyone's saying, how can the number be horrible? The news is horrible, and yet unemployment goes down. You know why? Because all those people stopped looking for jobs, so everyone said they're employed. It's crazy. That system was put in a long time ago, before Obama, in all fairness, so that politicians and presidents look good. But it's a false system, folks. We have tremendous, massive unemployment in this country. And remember this. And when I get all these record crowds and I get all these tremendous, I'll tell you what, Houston the other night, I don't know if you saw on television, they had a line that went forever. This is afterwards, we had 5,000 or 6,000 people inside this room, which was Mac. You were there? Oh, she drove from San Diego to St. Me. Good. Must be very successful. Thank you, darling. Thank you. But in Houston, they had a crowd last night that was beyond, if we had a stadium, it would have filled out. Thousands, tens of thousands of people couldn't even get in. But it's happening. And to a large extent, look, it's about the border, it's about security, it's about the military, it's about all of these things. We're going to save you Social Security without killing it like so many people want to do. And your Medicare, and all of these things we're going to save. Remember this. This is true. And she can guise it any way she wants. Two things. Hillary's going to raise your taxes like crazy, I think to 60 or 65%. She doesn't want to talk about it. And I'm giving the largest tax cut of anybody and any candidate that's run for office, okay? Any candidate that's run for office. We're the highest taxed nation in the world, folks. Nobody pays more tax. We're the highest tax. Our businesses are the highest taxed in the world. We're giving a massive tax cut, especially for business and small business, and especially for the middle class. So I don't know if there's any middle class in here. I think you're all at the upper echelons. But if there are, you're going to be extremely happy. So a lot of things have happened. But it's been incredible. It's been incredible. It's been a movement. I've been on the cover of Time magazine so many times. And the cover of everything. I feel like a supermodel, except like times 10. Okay? It's true. I'm a supermodel. I'm on the cover of these magazines. I'm on the cover of the biggest magazines. I don't even know about it. I can't even read the story, because if I did, I wouldn't get any work done. I have never seen anything like it. And it's not about me. I'm doing a good job as a messenger, but I'm a messenger. People are making less money than they made 18 years ago, and they're working harder and they're working longer. And it's supposed to be the opposite, because our jobs are being taken away, and we're not letting that happen. But people are making less money than they did 18 years ago in terms of real wages. And you know what? That can't be, folks. And you know what? They're also bad jobs. They're considered bad jobs. They're not good jobs anymore. Our good jobs are in other countries. Our good jobs are disappearing. These are bad jobs, and even the opponents, my opponents, admit they're not good jobs. And then you have a lot because of Obamacare, which we're going to terminate, by the way, 100% and replace. But because of Obamacare and other things that they have messed up, but because of Obamacare, you have so many part-time jobs. People that never had a part-time job in their life, they always had jobs. And companies are taking people that have been with them for 20 years and more, and they're saying, I'm sorry, I love you, you're great, I have to make you part-time. Because they want to get away from those horrendous Obamacare rules and regulations. Speaking of rules and regulations, the taxes are high. But people tell me, and small business people and everybody tell me, if they had a choice between taxes, big cut, which we're doing, and getting rid of some of these massive regulations, they will take getting rid of the regulations. It's even more important. They can't even go to work anymore. The regulations are so stifling. So that's another thing we're going to do. We're going to get rid of a big, big percentage of the rules and regulations. We're going to get rid of Dodd-Frank to a large extent so that the banks can loan you money, which right now they don't loan businesses money. You know, the banks, you go to the banks, folks, you go, unless you have more money than you're asking for, they don't want to loan you money because the regulators are running the banks. And you need money to start businesses. You can't start businesses anymore. So many of my friends that started businesses, became very successful, employed a lot of people. So many of my friends tell me it's just so sad. They can't do it. They can't do it. And they would never be able to do today what they did 10 and 20 years ago. Would never be able to do it. So we're going to bring it back. We're going to bring it back. Now, let me just tell you. So there's one thing that came up because it's sort of interesting. So in the history of the Republican Party, we got the most votes ever. More than Ronald Reagan, who we love, more than Richard Nixon, more than Dwight Eisenhower, who, in all fairness, he did win the Second World War, you know, I mean. So we got more votes. We won 37 states. We won the primaries in a landslide. I'm proud to say, by the way, I spent my own money, but I spent $50 million, my own money, won the primaries, and let me just tell you, I spent less money than anybody and had the best result. Isn't that what we want as the president, right? But I hear these like little rumors, and it's mostly the press. See those guys? That's the most dishonest group of human beings you'll ever. The most, by the way, the most dishonest group. And they understand. But they wanted to, you know, they like to start. I mean, one of these groups said today that Donald Trump, now think of this. First of all, it's illegal. Second of all, the last thing I would do in the world, Donald Trump may sell his campaign. May sell it. Don't think of it. May sell it. He wants $150 million. Can you believe this? Donald Trump may. Number one, you can't do it. Number two, you could offer me 5 times that amount, and I wouldn't do it. One of the people was supposedly quoted, he might do it for $5 billion. Now, for $5 billion, I guess we have to think about it, right? But this is Politico, which is a total rag, which you have never seen. They quote people, it's always anonymous. An anonymous source said, the anonymous source doesn't exist. I'm telling you, CNN is terrible. Terrible. Honestly, CNN is terrible. No, CNN. You know, they always do the breaking news, right? Breaking news. Trump may sell his thing. You know, you got to see. But the new one is this. So we win with the largest number of votes ever, almost 14 million. Over a period of like almost a year, spend a lot of our money and our guts, right? We go through this really tough primary season. I'm competing against 16 other very bright people, senators and governors. And, you know, Charles Krauthammer said, prior to my getting it, he said, this is the most talented group perhaps ever assembled or since the Second World War. And I'm saying to myself, maybe I shouldn't run. Then I ran and boom, 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 boom. I don't know. There's talent with these politicians, other than my politicians that are here with us today, like Jan, other than that. But so what's happened? So we go in and boom, boom, boom. We knock one after another after another. It's a beautiful picture, right? Don't we love it? We love it. But yesterday with CNN and a couple of the others that there may be a movement to try at the convention. You got to stand. Remember, they all said, he will never be able to get 1,237 delegates. I think we got 1,550, right? I think we got 50. And remember this, folks. It's all made up by the press. Remember this. Remember this. When I get 1,550, or when I get even the 1,237, I'm running against 16 people. It's the largest field, they think, in the history of politics, either party. Democrat or Republican. So I'll never forget, I won New Hampshire, and I won these other states, and I was getting good numbers, like 28, and then 32, and then 34, and 30, and I had many people that I was running against. I wasn't running against one person, like Hillary. She's running against, you had crooked Hillary versus crazy Bernie, right? That's it, right? Crooked Hillary against crazy Bernie. So you got one person. So whoever wins picks up all. I'm running against 16 people that are governors, senators, and talented people, like Ben Carson, who's a great guy who endorsed me, and Chris Christie, great guy, endorsed me. Chris and Ben endorsed me. But, so I remember I'm watching the pundits saying, I think we had like 12 or 13 people left, and I had a state where I got about 34%. And they said, he has not cracked 50%. How can you crack 50% when you have 14 people that you're running against? I blew them away. I had 34, and they had like peanuts. And you add them all up. One had 2, one had 1, one had nothing, one had 3. But when you have all these people, and then anyway, when we got to New York, and you know, we had a tremendous victory in Florida, landslide victory. I won 66 out of 67 counties. Nobody's ever done that before. And won in a landslide. Won in a landslide against a good guy and a number of people. I mean, there were a number of people. And then we came into New York, and we had a massive... Isn't it nice to know that New York knows me probably better than anybody? I'm in there all the time. Isn't it nice to know that the people that know me best gave me a massive, huge victory? I mean, it was like... In New York, I won almost everything. Cleared the board, upstate, down, so we won almost everything. And then the next week, thank you, the next week it was Pennsylvania, and we went to Connecticut. And by the way, we're doing great in Connecticut. You know, a lot of these states are not supposed to be like Republican states, except numbers are coming in that are so good, we're going to make them Republican states. Connecticut is one of them. Connecticut's one of them. Because people are tired of stupidity. They're tired of the Iran deal, where we give them 150. We give them back $150 billion. We get nothing. We get nothing. We get nothing. And by the way, before we negotiated that deal, we should have had those prisoners released, not years later. Not years later. And now they're about ready to take over Iraq because of our stupid leaders and our stupid policies. And they're about, which by the way, blows the Iran deal away, because Iraq has among the greatest oil fields and oil reserves in the world. Okay? They're going to get the whole thing. What have we done, folks? What have we done? You know, for years they fought and fought and fought, and then they rest. And then they fight and fight, but they were the same militarily, right? They didn't move. They go 10 feet, 10 feet, 10 feet, rest. And we gave them everything. We blew out one of them, and now we don't know what the hell's going on. We don't know what's going on. And now you have the migration, and now you have people coming into our country and coming into all of the European countries. And you look at Germany, what a mess Germany is. I have friends from Germany. We're so proud of Germany for so many years. And they say, we love our country. Very, very proud. Members of clubs that I have in Florida, Mar-a-Lago. So proud. And now they're saying, we think we're moving. We're leaving Germany. Okay, we're leaving. They say we're leaving Germany. What they've done is incredible. And we're doing the same thing. We're taking in millions of people that we don't know who the hell they are. They don't have documentation. They don't have paperwork. It's going to be a problem like you've never seen before. And you're going to have a situation. You look at Orlando, and you see how bad that was. Sadly, folks, unless we get really tough and really smart, it's going to happen again and again and again until we really know what the hell we're doing, because we don't know what we're doing. We just don't know. So we're going to be different. We're going to be tougher. We're going to be smarter. We're going to bring our jobs. We're going to have borders. We're going to have the wall. We need the wall. We have to stop the drugs. We have to stop. Who's going to pay for the wall? Tell me. Going to happen. You know, when I was in the debates, and every single poll after the debate said I won every debate. Are we proud of me? Am I doing a good job? I never did this stuff before. But every single poll had me winning every single debate. Every single poll. They did like 7 of them for each debate. I was in, I think, 11 debates. And every poll, I was center stage. And the only thing I said to the networks or to the cables, I said, no, 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 I want an odd number. They said, no, we can't do that. We want 8 or we want 12. Do you remember at the beginning? They had so many people, they needed another stage, right? But I always said, I want an odd number on the stage. They said, why? Because if I don't have an odd number, I'm not in the center, right? I was center stage on every single debate, representing you. I need this like a hole in the head, folks. Representing you. So we won. And we're going to keep winning. We're going to keep winning. We're going to win so much. We are going to win so much. And we have to win. We have no choice. Remember one other thing, and one of the folks just said it. I just had a meeting with some great people, and they just said, Mr. Trump, a lot of times during your speeches, you don't mention one of the most important things that you're going to do. Supreme Court justices. Okay? Supreme Court justices. And we're going to put in great, great intellects, conservative people, highly, highly vetted, highly, highly respected. We're going to have great Supreme Court judges. Now, if Hillary Clinton gets in, folks, we've got Venezuela. Take a look at what's happening in Venezuela. We've got high taxes, and we've got a country that's going to be a disaster. And we're heading in that direction now. We're heading in that direction now. So remember, one of the things that we're doing all together, and I actually put out, you saw it, Federalist Society, they're like the gold standard. Checked out also Heritage and others. We put out a list of 11. I'm going to add 4, probably 4 more, 3 or 4 more, and they're going to be great names. And we're going to pick among them or somebody very, very similar, high quality. But if we don't do that, we are really in trouble. Judge Scalia passed away. Judge Scalia was a great person, a great man, and a great justice, okay? A great justice. And that was unexpected. And remember, this coming president probably will have 3 judges, including Justice Scalia. Probably will have 3, but could have 4 and could have 5. It could be record-setting, the biggest ever. It could be the biggest ever. And we have to do something, and we have to make sure. And I sort of, I get a kick when these poor people that have been fighting me forever, they just don't understand. They can't beat me. They just can't beat me. So now I hear, and we'll just finish off. So I hear they want to try and do something at the convention. Wouldn't it be funny if Trump gets record-setting votes, the biggest in history, has unbelievable number of states, and somebody that was beat like a drum says, our nominee is that. First of all, it's not legal, can't do it. Second of all, the Republican National Committee is with me 100%. Reince Priebus, a very good guy. He said this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Third of all, I think it's just a pure fabrication by the press. But if there is one of the people that he defeated, it's possible. They don't take it easy. And it was a rough look. It was a rough go. People say it was the single roughest primary they've ever seen. Whether it is, whether it wasn't, I don't know. But it was pretty tough, right? And there were some badly injured and wounded people there. And I wouldn't say they love me. Do you agree? I wouldn't say. You people, you're worse than I am. You're worse than I am. But I understand it. But just so you know, it's really fabrication by the press. They want it so badly. It was all over. We have breaking news. You ever notice that with these guys, every story is breaking news? If the woman in the front sneezes, ladies and gentlemen, we have breaking news. We have breaking news coming out of Arizona. The very nice woman with the red shirt on and the big Trump sign, she sneezed in the front row. Now, everything's breaking news. It's breaking news. Well, this is not breaking news, folks. We have it. We have great support. We have some Republicans that aren't there. I mean, even some that have endorsed me that just aren't there. And we'll find out what we do about that situation. But we have, and the sad part is, we have tremendous support. But nobody mentions the support. When somebody like Jan or like Sheriff Joe or like, that's it. That's it. They don't mention. They don't mention. But we have tremendous support, unbelievable support, actually. In fact, one of the more honorable groups they started mentioning than that we have, great. But let me tell you something. The Republicans should stick together. I don't think it's going to matter that much in terms of whether or not I win, I'll be honest. Because I really ran as an outsider, even though I used to be total establishment. I hate to tell you, but before, think of it, 1 year, 2 days. But before I ran, I was very much, I shouldn't tell you, you'll leave immediately. But I was sort of establishment. I used to give vast amounts of money, right? And now, as soon as I ran, I became an insurgent. I became an outsider. Guys that were my friends this year, an outsider. And you know why? Because I'm going to do what's right for you. I'm not going to do what's right for them. I know the game better than anybody. And they want things in the party and the other party because Hillary is totally controlled by Wall Street. I mean, she may say not, but she is totally controlled by Wall Street. She is totally controlled by countries that are horrible to the gay community and horrible to women. She is totally controlled. She's been given tens of millions of dollars by countries that treat women horribly. They use the word, by the way, enslave. By countries that treat women horribly, enslave, and countries that kill gays. They kill gays. They push them off of buildings and they kill. And she's taking money and she's letting more of them come into our country. And you tell me who's better for the gay community, and you tell me who's better for women, folks, okay? Who's better? So just to finish off, thank you. Got some real young, powerful people here. Thank you. That's great. Thank you. Thank you. So just to finish off, we have a movement going on. You have people that are the biggest punters. Bill O'Reilly, a tough guy, smart guy. Bill O'Reilly said recently, a couple of times, it's the single greatest phenomena, politically speaking, that I've seen in my lifetime. That's a pretty good statement, right? Talking about the movement. Others have said the same thing. Others that hate me have said the same thing. It is a movement. In November, we've got to win. Right now, we're up pretty big in Arizona, but we got to win. We got to win. It's a very important state, but we've got to win, and I think we're going to win. And we're going to start winning like you've never seen this country win before. I'm telling you. We're going to win at every level. We're going to win with our military. We're going to have to, I'm sorry to say this, we're going to have to knock the hell out of ISIS. I am sorry. I am sorry. We are going to win for our vets. Our vets have been mistreated, and you know better than anybody. Arizona knows better than anybody because nobody has been treated worse, and there is no more corrupt group in terms of government than what's happening with the VA in Arizona. You're the poster child for everybody, and we're going to fix it. And we're going to take care of our vets, our greatest people. We have to take care of our vets, and I have a plan, and you've all seen the plan, and people love the plan, and we're doing great with the vets. But forget about doing great. We're going to take care of the situation with our vets. Our vets are dying while they wait for a doctor for a simple procedure, and they die. They have to wait so long. So we're going to take care of our vets. We're going to win with our vets. Ready? We're going to win. And we're going to knock out Common Core. We're bringing our education local. We're going to repeal and replace Obamacare with something much less expensive and much, much better. You see what's happening to your premiums. You see what's happening to your deductibles are going through the roof. You can never use it unless you die a really long, horrible spell and then go at the end. The deductibles on Obamacare are so high that you'll never be able to use it. Your premiums, I just left Texas, your premiums, Blue Cross, Blue Shield, through Obamacare, just were raised to 60%, folks, 60%. And bigger numbers are coming on November 1st, much bigger numbers. It's a failure, it's a total, and by the way, I wish it was successful. I don't mind saying I don't have to fix everything. I wish it were successful. It's a disaster. We're going to fix Obamacare. We're going to repeal it and replace it, okay? We're going to save your Second Amendment. It's going to be so strong. We're going to have strong borders. We're going to have the wall. People are going to come in, but we're going to have strong borders. You're going to be proud of your country again. And we are going to make great trade deals. We're going to bring back our jobs. We're not going to let our jobs go very easily. And if they do go, there's going to be consequences for the companies that closed up, fired all these people, and make their products someplace else. There are going to be very serious consequences. And here is the bottom line. We're in Arizona. We're in Arizona, which is a great state. Although I wouldn't want to play golf today. I tell you, that's pretty hot out there. It's pretty hot out there, folks. But I'll be President Trump. I'll be in the White House, and I will be getting a call from one of my people saying thousands and thousands of people, Mr. President, are calling from Arizona. They're devastated. We're winning too much, Mr. President. They don't like it. They're not used to it. They can't take it. They're having a hard time handling it. Mr. President, sir, they don't want you to win so much. You're winning with the military. We're going to beat ISIS. You're winning with the border. You're winning with trade. You're winning for our vets. You're winning with everything, Mr. President. You're driving the people of Arizona crazy. And I'm going to say to them, call those thousands of people back and tell them we're going to continue to win because we're going to make America greater than ever before. I love you. Thank you, Arizona. Thank you. Thank you, Arizona. Thank you. We love you. Thank you, everybody.